Okay, Jack, unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'll just, can everyone hear me?
Perfectly.
Yeah, okay, lovely. Yeah, so I'll just talk kind of briefly about what I've been doing, doing here in Denmark and kind of introduce myself a little bit. Yeah, so I moved to Copenhagen to start a master's in September 2018. And I knew that I'd need to get a job and able to like support myself financially, given that it's a pretty pricey city. I guess I was under a bit of a kind of naive assumption that I wouldn't experience the same exploitative working conditions that I had in the UK because of the really strong trade union movement here in Denmark. So yeah, if anyone doesn't know it, there's about 83% of the working population that have contracts which are covered by a collective agreement here. So yeah, it's incredibly strong compared to pretty much anywhere else in the world. But when I did actually get work, I found that not to be the case. So I've never had a job that's been covered by a collective agreement. The first job that I had, for example, was a sales job. Yeah, I had an incredibly low salary and they fired me under pretty dubious circumstances. Yeah, I've also done other work which is just as exploitative, if not more exploitative than a lot of work that I've done in the UK. So I guess I learned through experience that in Copenhagen, precarious working conditions definitely exist. But yeah, during my first year or so here, I felt pretty disempowered to actually do anything about it. I didn't have any links to the official trade union movement. And yeah, it was really difficult to try and persuade co-workers to unionize or to at least have discussions about improving conditions. So that was until late last year, around the time of the election. I met someone who's actually another British person who's a Labour Party member, and she let me know that herself and some other Wolt couriers were organising as part of a group they'd set up called the Wolt Workers Group, which was working with Denmark's largest trade union, 3F. So yeah, Wolt is basically a food platform like Deliveroo and Foodora. And yeah, they've grown really rapidly in Denmark and particularly Copenhagen in the last year or two. So yeah, just to give a background of kind of what it's like to work for them. The couriers, or like they call us partners, are contracted as freelancers or independent contractors. So this basically means that couriers don't receive any of the usual obligations which employers would have towards employees, such as like sick pay, paying into a pension plan, holiday pay. On top of this, the couriers need to provide a smartphone, an extensive data plan, their own vehicle, pay for any necessary vehicle maintenance or petrol, safety equipment. The list kind of goes on of extra things that we have to pay for ourselves. So upon hearing about this Wolt Workers Group, I decided that it would be like the perfect thing to get involved with, both because I needed a bit of extra money and also because I just thought that it was vital that precarious and mostly foreign workers here develop proper links with the trade union movement. Shortly afterwards, just at the turn of this year, I became a Wolt courier and started agitating on the job. And becoming a courier really made you realise how much of a con the work is. So I'll just give like an example of that. So Wolt offers some shifts where couriers will receive like guaranteed minimum wage, no matter how many orders you complete. So yeah, that's not something that for example, Deliveroo workers get in the UK. And yeah, at the introduction meeting, they tell you like, oh, you'll definitely be able to, get 10, 15 hours a week doing, with these shifts. Like, it's not a problem at all. But yeah, the shifts are released twice a week and they're gone within about a 30-second period. So I've gone weeks before without managing to get a single shift, meaning that you basically just have to clock on and work without any guarantee whatsoever. And yeah, if it's not busy, then you could only make like a £5 an hour or something, if that. So really kind of like understanding the frustration as a courier and having conversations with many of the around 1,500 couriers who are working in Copenhagen, meant that the Wolt Workers Group could develop demands which really spoke to the problems that all couriers faced. So we were handing out leaflets on shift to kind of like advertise our group and to try and get people to come to meetings. Yeah, and we organised meetings with like I say, like our trade union, which all couriers could attend. And yeah, I mean, this is pre-coronavirus, so different times, I suppose. But like, yeah, they were pretty popular meetings. And then yeah, we also tried to organise kind of like information events to try and help other couriers in the job, such as like, because we're self-employed, we have to sort out our taxes ourselves. And yeah, if you're earning over a certain amount of money, then you have to consider yourself like a small business. So it's obviously insanely complicated. Like, people who signed up to be a courier weren't planning on starting a small business. So yeah, so we tried to kind of like provide some advice there and try and understand the system a little bit more ourselves as well. Yeah, and then I guess we were building pretty steadily, and then and then the lockdown started. So the lockdown started probably about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks before it started in the UK. And yeah, I guess initially that was a bit of an issue for us, because everything was kind of done face to face, and we were kind of like building up relationships with a lot of couriers, but it was still only about 3 of us actually doing the organising work. So we'd actually been getting quite a lot of attention online, because we started like a Facebook page, and we kind of been getting in touch with like the wider Danish trade union movement, and we'd actually been contacted by quite a lot of kind of like journalists wanting to write stories on us. So we sort of thought like the start of coronavirus was like the best time to kind of try and capitalize on that in some way. So yeah, some of our members have appeared in kind of like national newspaper articles, and one member was even on like the 9 o'clock news here in Denmark, so like their equivalent of the BBC 10 o'clock news, I suppose. So like, because of all of that, we've ended up getting quite like a fairly substantial public support, and Wolt as a company, their image has definitely deteriorated amongst Danes. So I think Wolt wasn't really expecting the Wolt Workers Group to grow as fast as we have done, and to get like the amount of support that we have done amongst both couriers and the wider public. We're the first food platform workers to organise in Denmark, and trade unions here struggle to organise with non-Danes. I mean, similar to what Alan was speaking about, especially people who work for companies like Wolt are kind of coming and going from the country, and it's hard to organise those kind of groups. So I suppose what we're doing is something new, and it's quite exciting in that way, that we're kind of actually managing to get people that aren't traditionally involved in trade unions in Denmark involved. And yeah, I suppose because of all this pressure, Wolt and our union 3F have actually started negotiating for a collective agreement. So if signed, then then this agreement would make us employees rather than independent contractors, which is obviously our main goal. As well as that, we want adequate insurance, because currently if you have an injury in the workplace, like they offer like a really shitty insurance where, I don't know, I think it's like based in Belgium or something, and you have to phone like 10 different people and you don't get, it's just like, it's not on, basically. So we would kind of, we want financial security and better health and safety standards, I suppose. And and also for, like I mentioned earlier, all the extra expenses that we have to front ourselves, like vehicle maintenance, that should really be something that the company either helps us with or provides themselves. So obviously these negotiations can go on for quite a long time, but we're going to try to like keep applying the pressure on Wolt to sign sooner rather than later. And yeah, I guess we're going from strength to strength, and we just want to keep building as a group. But kind of, as I mentioned earlier, like the organising falls on just a few people really. And even though we've kind of, especially before coronavirus, like developed quite good relationships with a lot of Wolt couriers, and we know that a lot of Wolt couriers are on our side, there is a bit of a danger that the group could kind of, I don't know, dissipate a little bit, because it's just the kind of workplace where people come and go a little bit. So I think over the summer it's been a little bit of a lull period, and we're trying to work out how to make it more sustainable, and how to kind of like distribute the organising a little bit more. And yeah, they're the kind of conversations that we're having at the moment. So if anyone's got any advice, then feel free to get in touch. But yeah, I'll stop there. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. That's been very, very informative. Just as a side issue, a friend of mine contacted me. She's a courier in Seville, and she was